Okay, so today this is just an informal video to lay out the stock forecast by the AI neural network system from April 3rd for the 20 trading day time window starting today on April 4th. This is before the opening of the markets. So the system generated four forecasts, and I'm just going to go through each thread that I posted on Twitter because I have some of the graphics there. So this was the first thread. The company selected were NTP, TK, VHC, XIN. You'd have to look them up to see whether they're NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. They're going to be one or the other. There's no other exchanges that the system works off of. So those are the ones selected. Now, there was an 11-year historical forecast test that was done, and this is the team that I selected. This is team 43. And what that means is that 43 neural networks at a minimum have to agree on the stock selected. And then this is tested over real stock data over a period of 11 years, and there's 12 forecast windows in each year. So let me kind of blow this up. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average here from 2011 through 2021. And this is the performance of the team 43 over that time period. And so this dotted line here is the average. This is the standard deviation, just to give you an idea. And so we're somewhere over here in terms of doing the forecast. So this one looks pretty good. It averaged about 120% return each year. And this is kind of the close-up. So then we look at the next thing is actually, let me start here. These are the actual forecasts for each trading window or each forecast window, which lasts 20 trading days. So this would be, I need to change these numbers, but this is 2011, 2012, all the way through 2021. So you can see there was forecasts that were negative, that they got negative results. But your positive ones, when you have a positive one, they're far bigger. So the red stars are the first forecast in each year. And then that would probably be the second one, and then maybe the third one, just to count. But anyway, and let me skip forward again. And so the percentage below zero of the return on investments that were below zero is 29%, almost 30 in this case, and then about 70 that were above. So statistically speaking, you have about 1/3 chance, 1 out of 3 chance of getting a negative return, but you have 2 out of 3 chances of getting a positive return. And again, but your positive returns could be pretty large. Like this is this particular time window, there was a 20% return in that 20 trading day period, which is about a month because you factor in weekends as far as absolute time. And so what this does is just build confidence of the behavior of the system over the past 11 years. And again, it's all probabilities of what may or may not happen. So with the forecast, we could take a loss just like we did here, or we could have a big win. And more often than not, we'll have the big win. So we go back up here. This is an example. This shows the accumulative effect. So the way this works is at the end of, say, the first trading window, which would be in January, whatever return you have, negative or positive, you take that amount, reinvest it in the next time window, and then the next time window, and so on. So if you made 6% return every month and then reinvested it, you will be just slightly over 100% return for the year. And so really, you don't have to make huge returns. I mean, you can average 6, you'll be over 100. But of course, some time windows, forecast windows, you'll end up with losers, right? So you may be behind. Oh, I forgot to mention, I model a stop limit or loss limit of 3%. So if any stock goes below 3%, you cut it loose. So the worst case you're going to do is lose 3%, but the upside is much bigger. So this is an example of this particular stock started off as a loss, then went up. This is over a 1-year period right here. And so probably 3 or 4 months in, you weren't doing too well, and then all of a sudden you took off and ended up at around 30% return. The rest of them were a lot better. This one you would have started off at a positive and then jumped over 50%. Then you would have had a couple of setbacks, and then along the 6 month period or marker, you really rocketed up, and this one went up about 175% return. So that kind of shows the profile of the historical tests, and then this is just a closer look from 0 to 100%. Obviously, some of these go above, some below. And just want to emphasize that this is not advice for purchasing stocks. This is just a real-time test of my AI system that I've been building since 2015. Originally tested it with yearly forecasts, but a friend of mine pushed me to make the windows a lot smaller, so I compromised. He wanted day trading. I said, well, let's do 20 trading days, and that seems to work pretty well. So anyway, that's sort of an explanation for the first thread. First forecast. I won't go into any that kind of detail for the other ones. Okay, so that's the first thread. Let's see. First forecast. Okay, here is the second one. In this case, these were the stocks that were selected. Let's see. I think there were 9 of them. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there were 9 of them. And again, these are either New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. This was the historical forecast test over 11 years of how this team number 33, that means 33 neural networks, at a minimum have to agree on these stock selections. And this is the Dow Jones. So that one looks pretty good. Now we're forecast-wise, we're right out here somewhere. So don't know how it's going to perform. The likelihood, this is the mean and this is the standard deviation. We're hoping is that it'll do well. And again, these are the performances you can actually see for each of the forecast test years. And this is the distribution. Again, we had some losers down here, but had some big winners. And again, this is 20 trading days. So these returns, some of them are pretty high just for 20 trading days. It's not bad. All right, so that was the second forecast for this time window that's getting ready to start. Third one, right here. In this case, it was a single stock FRBK. And here is the historical forecast test. The average was a little lower than the others, around maybe 90% return, which is not bad. And again, all this does is give you an idea of how it may perform. So we go down to the statistics of each forecast. There's 12 of them each year, and then there was 11 years. So obviously you have your losers down here, but the winners are far bigger, and that's what makes this system work. That's where you get this kind of performance right here. That's 100%, and here it's zoomed from 0 to 100, so you can see how they really moved along. Because again, at the end of one forecast window, whatever you've made, you sell, you reinvest in the next round, and so it's a cumulative effect. All you need is a 6% return on average every month, and then reinvest it, make another 6%, reinvest it, make another 6%, and you get to 100% ROI. At the end of the year. I'm just saying that as a basic model to understand that you don't have to have huge returns. Now, you want to get some big ones because some months you're going to have losers. So you may be minus 2% one month, and then to help compensate, you may need a couple of months where you're making 8, 9, 10% return. Anyway, so that was the third forecast set, and then the fourth one is this one right here. Is the company Core, CORR, and again, I don't know, it's either New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. This was the historical forecast testing. The average was over 125% return. And these are the standard deviation lines. So this is 2011 through 2021, and our forecast area, time-wise, is going to be out here. This is kind of a close-up. The worst case it had was a maybe 23, 24% return, but then the market, Dow Jones, was down at what, -4, -5%. So that's not bad. And then these are the monthly stats in terms of monthly ROIs. So this is a ROI for one 20 trading day period in the first forecast test year, which would be 2011. And then you can see how it performed throughout that time period. So in this case, we had over 70% return. In this case, we ended up at around 50. The lowest performer is the one that went to about 25% return. And notice here, we actually had several months, probably 4 or 5 months of losses. We were down to probably -7%, and then all of a sudden hit the jackpot and it took off. Had one setback here, another setback here, and we ended up 25% return, which is not great, but it was a lot better than the market. Now most of the others did a lot better. So anyway, that's the selected stocks from the AI neural network system. I don't select any of these stocks for training, test, or any of that. The system takes about 2.5 hours to run. Most of that is the historical forecast testing, but it does all the stock selection using a random number generator and some other filters. But I have nothing to do with any of this. I just configure it, run it, come back, and review the results. And the pool of stocks is, I use Norgate premium data, and I use the pool of stocks is from the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, and that's it. So that's it for this forecast.